We now have Atomicwork in production. So what's the extension of your plan?
No, definitely enabling and extending on what we have built that our team has already identified in sales and marketing, customer success, customer support. I'm very passionate about Agent of Agents, where an employee goes to one place so that employees will have one unified experience. And number three is, it's very important we look at this holistically, not only from experience, but also process and data integration. What I would ideally want is the vendors also to connect at the same time. What is the main problem that we're trying to solve for the customers?
Karthik, welcome to Atomicwork. It's a pleasure having you. And before we start, I'd love to basically tell a few words about Zuora and what are you doing at Zuora?
Thank you, Lennon. Thank you for having me here. At Zuora, I'm the SVP Corporate Operations and CIO. I've been with Zuora close to 2 years now.
That's great. I know we've kind of known each other a little bit before we got introduced to Atomicwork.
Yeah.
Obviously, when we started having the conversations about AI, and when I first told you that I'm joining Atomicwork, and you said, "Hey, I kind of heard from one of the investors that you guys are doing something interesting, and I want to see it." And then when we talked about agentic AI and then other things, you said like, "I have a vision."
Mm-hmm.
And what fascinated me was you wanted to share your vision before you even heard what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you said like, look, I don't want to, see your product because I want you to first hear what I need. And then you tell me whether you can actually solve that. And only then, we can, figure out the next steps. And I think why that has resonated very well with me is usually when you first talk to somebody and then somebody says like, "Hey, I want to know what you guys are doing."
Yeah.
The contrary for you is that you approach the problem in a different way, saying, "Look, I have a vision, and we have a vision for Zuora, and I'd like to share it." So when we first started the demo, and I told the team that you're going to do your vision presentation, and tell me why you felt that is so important.
I think, thanks for that. I recall having those conversations early last year. Yes, at Zuora, one of our key strategic priorities is to workplace.
Yeah.
Reimagine the workplace and transform end to end. When we say workplace experience, in simple terms, it's all about at the end of the day, how can we make Zuora's employees to be more efficient and effective?
Yeah.
It's as simple as that,
Yeah.
regardless of the technology or the other key enablers. So when we started looking at it, we kind of did our own discovery and analysis. How are employees working day in, day out? What are the pain points? What are the challenges? And we put our own organization IT as an example. How do we support our employees organization wide? What are they looking for us? So at the end of the day, it's all about how do we make employees
Yeah.
get help quickly and easily, find information quickly and easily, and fulfill their whatever the request and task as quickly as possible, not have to wait for someone to help them out. Because anytime that we can help them save, it's good for them.
Yeah.
And also helps the overall organizations and growth and efficiency, right? That is the mindset we went with. And that's why I was very clear. We know exactly what our needs are,
Yeah.
what our challenges are, what are we looking to solve. We don't want to have one more solution on top of all the applications that we have.
Yeah.
Okay, is it really solving the problem? It's not only solving the problem. There may be a lot of unmet needs that we have not thought about.
Yeah.
Can we extend and go beyond what employees are looking for? It's almost like when iPhone came in, nobody wanted an iPhone
Yeah.
20 years ago. And at the time, we were all only used to mobile phones, but nobody expected. We were all using BlackBerry.
It's not a smartphone. It was more like a phone.
And we had like I had a pager, I had a BlackBerry phone, I had my the big clamshell phone from Motorola. But who knew that we could do all these things in one? And now the whole world is using more like a smartphone. It's the same concept, right? So we started with solve the basic foundational needs of employees and then build a strong foundation where we can extend and scale to other needs where we can continuously drive that change.
Yeah.
That's the mindset. That's why I was very clear.
Yeah.
Okay, let's share what we have.
Yeah.
And let me know Does it resonate or not?
Yeah, no, not only that. I think what really helped with us is that as you were presenting the vision and the team was telling me, hey, this is our product.
Yeah.
so so what really surprised even for them is that we've never met, we never talked about what did Atomicwork is doing. You only saw the website and it's like, I don't understand what you guys are doing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I remember that conversation too.
Because I was not looking for IT services.
Yeah,
I was looking beyond.
Your need was completely different. You're looking for something transformational.
Yeah.
And then when I said, I think what you need to look at is that yes, it combines it, it brings something else. But I think what is important for us is to understand what you're doing first before we can actually present what it is we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it struck with the team and for us is that, okay, this is amazing, first of all, that your vision really something, literally fit into 50 to 65% of the product that we're already building. Obviously, there are a lot of things that we need to go in order to meet what you're looking for. And then from that conversation onwards, we never stopped.
Yeah.
Literally, I think this is something, a fascinating thing about startups, which I've been working with a lot of founders. A lot of them raise, and a lot of them have stories to talk about which customers and how and all of that. I think one of the most important thing for us as a startup that we were lucky to have first early adopters.
Yeah.
Who actually are visionaries, kind of think about what it is that they need and how, and then push the people who have something that is promising and potential to get where we're going. And during that process, I think when you saw the product or demo and you said, like, hey, this is very interesting, I want my team to see it.
Yeah.
So immediately you said, I want my team to see it. And I still, feel like, we're using JSM. We have issues with what it is that we're doing, but you really wanted to figure out how the team thinks about it.
Yeah.
So is that normal, like for you, in terms of how, as a CIO, you approach to any type of an innovative solution that you bring to the organization?
Yeah, I think maybe I'll break it down into three things, right? Because when I joined Zuora, like two years ago, obviously every new leader goes through a 30, 60, 90-day listen and learn. What does the employee need? What are the pain points, challenges? What do we need to do? This is in addition to what are some new things that we need to enable for the initiatives or the objectives that the company has, right? One of the top things that came up in my first 30 days is IT is too slow to respond. And it takes a lot of time. And we have some house burning items as well, right? Like simple things like password resets or Wi-Fi connections, or it takes a long time to get application access, like onboarding, offboarding, the general nuts and bolts of any support that we have to do. So upon looking at it, okay, this is not like this is an old age
problem.
And this is something that can be quickly enabled. And I think that is when the Chat GPT
came out, and then
like after I joined, it came around the same time, like 3 months after I joined. It was very interesting. Like, okay, there's always a technology wave that comes every year, but this one was like a once in a decade kind of an wave that was coming in. So I was looking at it. This was all happening at the same time, and we are doing some temporary fixes like adding more resources, cleaning up and optimizing some processes on support tickets and all those other things. And the second thing is, during that period, we also started looking at the overall workplace experience. When I say workplace experience, is not just your digital, it includes this room as well, right? Like, how do people interact and collaborate in meeting rooms, hybrid workplace? And also, how do they get help? How do they find information? Or do they have to go to multiple hops to get help and information? Or does the information push to them like almost like the Netflix kind of an experience? It knows who you are, and it personalizes the information for that. So we kind of started mapping that overall thing. So we were doing that in the second part. The third one is my personal, the way I look at things is, before I look for technology and solutions, I always want to prioritize what is the need that we want to enable and what is the problem that we're trying to solve. Once we have that clear, then finding the right technology solution makes it easy. If you do it the other way around, look
Yeah.
at the technology and solution and then try to map it back to the problem and challenge, that is why 80% of the transformation programs or any technology programs fail.
Yeah.
So you're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. I want to find a round peg to a round hole, right? And that is one thing. Doesn't mean that I don't look at solutions in the first place or technology. So on top of these three things, the fourth element as well, I always want to keep in pace with the trends that are happening in
Mm-hmm.
the industries.
Yeah.
New trends like this generative AI and agentic AI. And I also always I want to see what the startup companies are doing. Now that I'm in Bay Area, I have the opportunity to meet a lot of startup companies, the
Yeah.
founders, and also some other customers who are in very similar journey. The one thing I liked is they look at solving problems in a different way,
Yeah.
right? And Bay Area is well known for that. They always look things differently.
Yeah.
They reframe the problem. They challenge the status quo. Things can be done in a different way,
Yeah.
right? So the reason I want to be closer to the startup community is I always learn from them just talking to the founder. That
Mm-hmm.
maybe it may be the person's first company,
Yeah.
or it may be the second time or the third time. But I always find it fascinating that connecting and collaborating and meeting with the startup companies, the founders, I always trying to keep what are they trying to do? What
Yeah.
problems are they trying to solve that other traditional companies are not able to do, or even my own team
Yeah.
maybe
Couldn't
also
do.
we couldn't do. Maybe we are missing out on a few things. And I met in my first year, I met with almost like 30, 40 startup companies just to see what things are going. Out of that, that is how I came across Atomicwork in one of those events. And okay, I have this problem, I have this need, I see this product that can also solve the problem and take me not only solve the current, not the yesterday's problems, not the today's problems, but also it
The
can also
future.
help enable go to the future.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at all solutions. So
Yeah.
till date, whatever solutions we have brought into Zora, I always take this holistic way. And my team is also doing the same thing. So when I said, hey, I want to have my team ready because I got all those inputs, challenges, and pain points from my team as well.
Yeah.
Because they did all the discovery and analysis. So because I want them to be at the end of the day, it's my team's decision to pick the right solution that solves the problem. I only provide the right guidance and recommendations. And because I want them to be empowered and make the decisions, it's okay to experiment, fail fast, and learn fast. Those things happens.
Yeah.
And that is how we operate as a team.
So how much was it that when you came to Zora, and then you had your thought process of what you thought is ideal IT, or in this case, operational, strategic operations team that needs to be strategic in terms of what it is we need to do, to what the organizational culture, what the vision was already set up, like, what it is that we need to do. How did that, work for you, like in the first several months of, getting that pieces together? Because it's been, we've known for a little over a year and a half, like almost 6 months right after you started at Zora. And so I think, looking back, your vision and Zora's strategy vision had to come together somewhere.
No, the key thing is we follow the OKR framework
Yeah.
end to end across the organization. So I report into Daisy Hernandez, who's the Chief Strategy and Operations Officer. And one of the top goals and objectives at the time is driving workplace experience. It was one of our key goals and outcomes, and we have some very clear results being mapped.
Yeah.
So from a strategy perspective, it was a known thing
Yeah.
we need to do. So we were already in the process of doing the why and the what analysis, like why are we doing this, what are the capabilities that we need to do. All we did is mapped out, refresh that why and the what,
Yeah.
and then focus on the how,
Yeah.
right? And then once we get all these things together, the vision can be realized. If you directly jump into what and how, directly go to how,
Yeah.
again, it leads to the same
Yeah.
the transformation program,
solutions and
the patchy solution.
Yeah.
You're just adding more. We are just cluttering with more apps that doesn't solve the problem or the need, right?
So Zuora is a subscription management company. Obviously, your product is really to help other SaaS companies to really manage their subscriptions, manage their ecosystem
Yep,
customers.
the complete revenue lifecycle management.
Right, exactly. Obviously, employee productivity their experience that we've talked about, like how that is important, obviously also fell into like, if you can make these improvements within our organization, it will help our customers and in what we do. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm a big believer in if you drive and improve the employee experience, the workplace experience, you're directly impacting the customer experience and also the partner experience as well.
Yeah.
All these three things needs to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's almost like going, this is an analogy that I've used in the past is why this all needs to be interconnected is, let's say you're planning to book a vacation. You go to a website. The website is really cool with all the bells and whistles. You have a great digital experience in looking at what that hotel is, all the bells and whistles. Your booking experience is great. Oh, yes. Then when you go into the hotel and check in and you have a lousy experience.
Yeah.
Your concierge doesn't know who you are.
Yeah.
And your guest service is bad. Everything is fragmented and disconnected. When you go into the room, it is not the room that you wanted, right? So that is one scenario. And you may have the opposite scenario as well. You may have a very bad experience making the reservation and booking the hotel. Maybe the website doesn't show all the things that the hotel provides and the amenities that they provide. When you go into the hotel, your experience is totally
much better.
Much better.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought about it. Right?
Yep.
Think about it. These are like two different scenarios. It happens in everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So think about it, right? If you have these two experiences at the
somehow
same
connected.
level and connected by having the right employee experience and having the right customer experience, it can feed off each other. Yeah. That is how I...
Yeah, it's a DNA in a way.
Yeah. And then obviously if you have a partner selling motion or a partner experience, this is almost like a triangle, right? So we sit in the middle.
That's right.
As a technology organization, we sit in the middle and we need to look at all these aspects.
Yeah. And there is a reason why I'm asking these questions because there should be some background around why embraced AI, first of all. And obviously that's the next step that we're going to have a conversation around. When Atomicwork came, you shared the vision. We went to the team. Teams liked what they saw. And I think there is already a cultural, vision set into their mind. They understand what it is that needs to be done. Things move very fast afterwards. And so then when we met, so you said one thing that I remember, my team needs to embrace this.
That's right. Yeah.
And they need to believe that this is going to solve the problem.
That's right.
It's not what I think, I believe what we need to do. Or also they believe how we get it done.
That's right.
So there's a strategic conversation, there is an operational execution concerns, and there is a security and operational concerns. It all needs to be met. And we went through that process. And then we said, okay, guys, POC, worked very well and get the confidence building exercise and building the feature set and all that stuff. But at what point you felt Atomicwork is the right solution for you from your perspective? And also, how did you approach that with your team? And, when did you, make the decision and what, obviously you were doing some experiments with AI before. And I think team already knows what their pain points, which is you also told us, hey, our team is smart. They've done things. So at some point, throughout that PLC and everything else, you've made a decision, the team made a decision, together you guys made a decision. How did you come to that?
And this is not just specific to Atomicwork, right?
Yeah.
So it is across all our, whatever solution we pick, we have a process.
Yeah.
The overall SaaS governance and rationalization. And whatever, as I said, like we follow this framework very diligently. The why. Why do we need this in the first place? What problems are we trying to solve?
Yeah.
What are the pain points and challenges and what the needs, current needs and tomorrow's needs? And then clearly define what the capabilities are.
Yeah.
So we do this first why and what fully.
Yeah.
Right. And only then we go into, okay, does it meet the needs? Does it meet the strategic goals and outcomes? Does it align with our OKRs? Right? Does it help move the needle? Moving the needle, it can be on driving growth or driving efficiency or
transformation
or insights or anything else. Right? So only when we cross these two, and we are not saying that this is like analysis paralysis. We have a very fast iterative cycle on this. And then we go into, okay, let's go look at the how. When we look at the how, yes, we want to look at multiple solutions, even including existing solutions as well.
Which you did.
Maybe we have not enabled all the capabilities what the existing tech stack that has it.
Yeah.
And when we look at it, obviously we go through the rigor and do some cycles. Okay, does it meet our needs? We do a POC, like a fast cycle POC, not like a 6-month POC. We know exactly what we want to test against, all like 3 or 5 scenarios for employees' perspective or other perspectives as well. And then beyond that, especially when we are trying to disrupt or driving transformation, I don't just stick with existing tech stack that is in the industry.
Yeah.
I also want to see what is out there in this new innovative ecosystem, especially in the world of Gen AI at the time, because everybody was trying to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, I wanted to have more of an co-innovator, an extension of my team,
Partner.
so that
Yeah.
because obviously our vision was still shaping up, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and we want to see that we don't get into a rabbit hole where we cannot come out.
Agree.
And we want to have a partner that we can co-develop, co-design, co-innovate. It's almost like an extension of my team.
Absolutely, because it was very early.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
it is something a vision. You're also
Yeah.
driving towards that. There is nothing
Existing.
and everything existing, you've already seen it. And
Yeah.
it's like they're not in the direction of what your vision was.
Exactly, and that is true. That is true, right? For example, we also not only at the product level, any solution that we pick.
Yeah.
Okay, who are the expertise that we're getting from the product company? Will they be able to help us solve the challenges together? Known needs and unknown needs. If there is net new scope,
Yeah.
okay, do we have flexibility to do it? We don't want to be. We want something like more fast iterative cycle, and that is how we have approached all the new solutions that we brought into Zuora.
Yeah.
And that help. Obviously, we sometimes we fail fast and learn fast and
Yeah.
apply those lessons learned. And till date, we brought in like almost like 25, 30 solutions.
Yeah.
And
most of them are startup led, and then
I would say half of them are
Yeah.
startup led, and
Yeah.
half of them are traditional.
Yeah.
Traditional companies who are well known in the industry.
Yeah.
And these are the key variables that we look when we do the due diligence on. Once it crosses the technology checkbox, okay,
Yeah.
technology works, the solution works, we don't just stop over there.
Yeah.
Because we have come across companies where we check off those boxes, but the post-sales and the co-innovation, co-development, and having more of an like a thought leader in the space,
Yeah.
it may not work.
Yeah.
So we look at all those characteristics as well, and obviously the expertise in the team. What type of thought leadership are they
Yeah.
bringing? Are they thinking? Is their vision is only for next 6 months, 12 months, or the next 3, 5 years?
Yeah. No.
And we look at all these aspects.
I remember because you insisted on having the roadmap conversation. You insisted on having the architecture conversation.
That's right. Yeah.
Security conversation, and everybody needed to be on board. I mean, I think it helped us basically also solidify our ability to convince not only you but also the team that we have what it takes to really support you. But I think what really stood out for us is throughout that process, we were also evaluating you.
Oh yeah.
Your team. Because what is important in the whole ecosystem of when you're a startup, the founders are also, this is not the first time they're doing. They also want to know how this particular organization approaches to AI. Is this going to help us build the product better? How do we get into? And what was really lucky is that as we were building it, we also started building relationship and understanding what's really important to you, what's important to us. And then by the time we signed an agreement to do something, to date, all I heard, even from our own experience from the business side and all the way to the product and engagement and deployment, was nothing but a great partnership. And things are working. From your side, what did you think about when you signed? You still had the skepticism around, hey, we still need to see, need to be used, which is what you always said.
That's why the POC was a great one. The 1-month POC, which especially when it comes to startup, we typically want to do the POC. That too unpaid POC. I'm not a big fan of paid POCs. And even with established vendors who are in our ecosystem, so if it is an established vendor, we know that, okay, there are thousands of customers or hundreds of customers, so we can do the references and all those things like things in security and infrastructure or CRM. It's a well-established space. But something when it is new in the industry, when
Yeah.
there is an industry wave coming with Gen AI and agentic AI, we want to make sure that we can move fast, learn fast.
Yeah.
And that is something that's a culture that we built within our team as well. And that really helped us to look at things differently.
Yeah, no, that's actually great. It's because you have a track record now. You've established working with founders and stuff. With Atomicwork, I think one thing that it's been about 6 months since we went live. And the first, there were some hiccups in terms of how we needed because it's AI, and one of the things is it's not what we think how AI should work. It's also important the quality of the data, the process, and how we're actually doing things. We may have to adapt. I think you also made very clear to the team, like, hey guys, we need to think differently.
That's
And I think there is also something that you've actually helped kind of drive that thought leadership into, hey, we may need to change certain things because this may help us a lot more than what we're thinking early on. I think that's what you said earlier, right? So if you were to look at what has happened, has Atomicwork met your expectations?
Absolutely. Whatever we had in the plan for the first 3 months, 6 months, it's not about the technical capabilities. I was not looking for that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we wouldn't have selected. It's about, does it move the needle on the outcomes and results that we put in place. One of the first things that we wanted to be very clear about, we were very clear about it, is driving deflection for our employees on common incidents and requests.
Yeah.
For example, a year ago, we were getting an average of 2,000, 3,000 tickets a month. When we did the analysis for past 12 months and 24 months, I would say, to be precise, 37% of those incidents and requests, in that there were like 10 categories of scenarios which could be easily be resolved.
Yeah.
Without even looking at agentic AI, I'm talking about the traditional bots.
Yeah.
The traditional conversational
like workflows
and all those
yeah,
other things, right? So we made an assumption. Okay, when we look for solution, it should be this basic things like password resets or application access request or finding information about a policy, or even submit a request to get a new laptop or
anything approvals,
approvals, any workflow. So we had that as one of our initial ones, and then we met those. We are meeting that metric, and obviously we have to make more progress because we want to go to the next level of use cases and all those things. We started with IT, we started with workplace services, we met our initial goals of driving, and we are pushing ourselves to the next ambitious goal. Okay, drive more than 90% and reduce the case volume by 40% to 50%. We started with 20. Now we want to push boundaries because we know that by having these ambitious goals and with the technology advancements that we have, especially with agentic AI, which is going beyond the bots, like it can be proactive, it can be also reactive, it can think, act, it can troubleshoot. It can also it can do the complete workflows end to end autonomously and giving that time back. So initially we were focusing more on L1 support. Now we are getting into L2 support. Okay, how do we do that? That way we can give the time back to our
teams,
experts who can help on strategic issues or any other critical and urgent issues that can help time, and also gives back time to the employees who don't have to wait for 4 hours and 8 hours. I think those are all the key things, and I think our initial goals, what we have kind of met. Now as we're starting the next fiscal year, we are going to push ourselves more. Okay, how do we drive this more? Right?
And like expansion into
other parts of the organization.
The other thing also is, like, when we talked about, there's an IT focused service management, and there is an ESM, that is an enterprise level, going into every department, bringing their knowledge, servicing them for their requests and their business needs and expertise and all of that stuff. I think the expansion is happening. And then the critical thing is what you're also emphasizing in the product. I understand you're solving the problem. You're deflecting, many things that you're doing, but I also want to understand the efficiency. And you wanted some insights.
That's right.
Like, why is that important to you?
Insights not only in this, anything that we do as leaders, or even for the entire team. If you do not know where you're going, it's difficult. Let's say You're driving a
So
car.
blind.
You're driving a car from, let's say, SFO to LA.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a dashboard, if you don't have a navigation map, or you don't have any of the signals in your car, you're just starting your car and you're like 1/4 of your way. I do not know whether I have enough
Fuel.
charge of fuel,
Yeah.
and how long do I have to go, and where do I have to go? You do not know.
Yeah.
Did I even come on the right route going from SFO to LA? If I
So
don't see,
preparation is important.
yeah, preparation is important. Also, you need to know, am I even going on the right road? Will I even
Planning.
reach my destination?
Mhm.
If you don't have any of those data and insights as a driver, how am I going to make an informed decision unless I ask somebody on the road, right? Which imagine
Used to
the
be the
same.
olden days of-
Imagine at least in the olden days we had a map. We
Yeah.
were looking. I think those days are gone, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Anytime when we do transformation, or whether it is run the business or change the business, and if you're obviously any program that we do, we are at a point A.
Mhm.
Sometimes we know what the point B is.
Mhm.
That is like the traditional program.
But you don't
in
know the end goal
transformation,
yet. Yeah.
it takes time from point A to define that future state vision, which is point B. And in order to go from point A to point B, you need to identify: are we having the right? Are we doing the right things? Are we going the right direction to the B? What is working? What is not working? And make iterative improvements. It's basically monitor, learn, apply.
Yeah. That's
If you
great.
don't do these three things, again, it goes back to the same thing.
Mhm.
One of the key things why major transformation programs fail. And that is very, very important. So
Yeah.
insights for me, it's personally, I've gone even beyond data. Data is table stakes.
Yeah.
We need the right data. We need the right insights. The insight should be able to answer all of our key questions, and so that we can make decision making. At the end of the day, many of the programs are slow, or many of the time it's slow to meet the end goal is because it takes a lot of time to get the data, get the insights, infer the insights, and make the decisions.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to cut all those things out, directly see the infer the insights and decision making. That's what I've been working. I think my team has been working with Atomicwork. Hey, we need to go more on insights.
Yeah.
And so that we can drive decisions faster and make the right improvements and prioritize the right capabilities.
I agree.
That's the way I look at.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at insights.
Yeah, but you also, wanted to know the vision. We now have Atomicwork in
Mhm.
production, and it's been going to be a year within the next quarter, and you're now going into the next fiscal. You have a vision. So, what's the extension of your plan, like between now and the next year? And also, as the industry is evolving, there's lots happening in the agentic AI, or whether AI itself in
Yeah.
general.
No, definitely enabling and extending on what we have built
Okay.
on agentic AI. The last 6 months, we have been focusing a lot on the horizontal corporate services like IT, HR, legal, finance, and other things where it is a common services that all our employees need in the organization. And if I have to lay out vertical blocks, we want to, there are a very good set of use cases that our team has already identified in sales and marketing, customer success, customer support. So we want to look at all these use cases. And obviously, the thing is, they also have things beyond an employee's day in the work. If it is an, let's say, customer success engineer, yes, they may have some common requests with IT, HR, and finance, but they also have some things that where we can make the life efficient in the day in the life of a customer success team.
Yeah.
Okay, what does this customer have? What is their adoption? What is the usage? What can I do about it? Are there any playbooks? Instead of going and looking at multiple applications and looking, can I have a conversational kind of thing, and also not only get help information, but also automate a particular request. Okay, go and do this or go and do that, right? So that is something that we want to do. That is number one. Number two is I'm very passionate about the agent of agents model.
Mhm.
Because obviously we have like 150 SaaS applications. I know more than half of it have their own AI agents. I'm kind of not enabling them unless it is super key
Important.
and important, like Zoom. Yes, we are enabling the Zoom
Mhm.
AI companion, right? But what I want to avoid is fragmentation of AI agent experience for employees. Just imagine, I'll go back to the same analogy of the hotel.
Mhm.
Just imagine instead of one concierge for your visitors to get all the help, just imagine if you have 10 concierges and everybody operates in a different way.
Yeah.
Every time you have to repeat the same information, and you may have
Which
different
happens, by the way.
experiences. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. Right? That will be a very bad
experience. Yeah.
And we do not know how the other applications, what type of agent they have built, what type of LLMs they have built, what kind of responses, and it'll be a nightmare
Yeah.
for any team
End users.
who on even end users as well
Yeah.
to support multiple things. If one thing breaks, then we don't want to be the business of like, okay, what happens? So that's why I'm very passionate about Agent of Agents, where an employee goes to one place, like let's call it as a super agent, goes to one place to help them get their work done. It's almost like one digital personal assistant. If I need to get help from IT, this agent may have, for example, Atomic will be able to help.
Yeah.
If I need some help in, let's say, in CRM or any other marketing application, Atomicwork may not have that information. But I would love for companies like Atomicwork to enable, okay, you know what? I don't have this information. Let me go to talk to my buddy agent who sits on Salesforce and have the agent to agent communication and get that information so that employees will have one unified experience and they don't have to worry which agent I need to go look for the information. And that is number two. Number three is it's very important we look at this holistically, not only from experience, but also process and data integration. We want to have a good harmony of this process and data. Otherwise, we'll go back into the same issues that we had when we started bringing cloud into our organization. Every cloud app will have their own things, and it was very difficult. And then we spent many months and years to connect all these applications, and we lose the source of truth, and it kind of impacts it drives more complexity and it impacts the system of engagement. So that way we are in a good pivotal moment. So that is the way I look at things from an architecture perspective. Can we enable this? So I'm partnering with some key vendors who are in our ecosystem. Can you connect this to that? So that, for example, I was with Navan the other night. We recently enabled a travel and expense management. I was showing like what is my vision for this Agent of Agents. We did not do a lot of enablement on Navan when we rolled it out. We enabled this AI agent in Atomicwork to answer all the common things that employees may have on this new travel and expense application, the FAQs, the policies, and it was music to Navan's ears. So what I told Navan team is just imagine, can I go to the same agent and book travel or see my approvals in this? I don't even have to log into Navan. If I can reduce that journey for the employees to go to Navan
integration.
They are only employees at the end of the day will only go to one interface and do it. Obviously, there may be some needs and use cases where they have to go to Navan and do some other detailed things, but at least it kind of addresses like 40 to 50% of the needs. And he became so excited. The Navan's team was very excited, and we want to co-partner and co-design. Likewise, we are doing this with other vendors. Okay, obviously, I want to talk to other vendors who are in our ecosystem. Can we connect these dots? I think it is the onus is falling on customers and CIOs to pull these things together. What I would ideally want is the vendors also to connect at the same time. What is the main problem that we're trying to solve for them?
This is great. I think the vision is there. I think you've said this already, that you want to simplify it. Ultimately, you want to have a super agent, just like our teams today work with. You have expertise in each department.
That is right.
And there is no one person solving all the problems.
No one agent will also know everything.
Exactly. So that's why the agents need to coordinate themselves, just like humans are coordinating with them. We're replicating the same thing, but doing more efficiently, seamlessly, and integrating so that it doesn't really have to. So because you want to minimize the burden on the end users in the end. I think that's our vision as well, and then we're hoping to really continue the journey and then get where you're thinking about going.
Looking forward. I'm excited about what's coming.
Appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me and then go over this journey that we've started. And I'm looking forward to have this conversation again next year to see what we've actually accomplished together.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.